right, we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream. Super happy. If you guys caught the live stream yesterday, we were talking about Mortal Kombat, but today we're going to be talking about the first season of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the latest installment into the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, on Disney Plus. And I'm super happy to once again be joined by JJ Lomas Entertainment and Rashad G Reviews. And the last time we were all together, we were actually talking about the second season of Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat. Yeah, you said Mando, and I said Mortal Kombat.
Mando Combat.
Yeah, Mando Combat. Starting off great with mistakes right out of the gate. But yeah, we're going to go episode by episode, talk full spoilers. So if you guys have not already seen this season and you don't want any spoilers, get out of here. But if you want to stick around, we're going to be talking full spoilers, talking about what this kind of, implies for the future of the MCU. And yeah, again, a big thanks to Justin and Rashad for being here in the video. How's it going, by the way, guys?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you again for it's been so long since I've actually done one of these, and like I said, I just love the whole format of how you do these. I gotta get on your level, man.
No, man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. How you doing, Rashad?
Just water too.
Yeah, chilling, dude. Just chilling, man. Actually, I have Avengers Endgame on my wall here at the same time we're doing this, but I'm not really watching. I just need something playing while I'm doing this. It just adds to the ambiance of what the hell's going on. So yeah, just chilling.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, it's the perfect movie because we're definitely going to be talking about the connections that this has to Endgame and Infinity War, the blip, similar to what they kind of did with WandaVision. So let's jump straight into this. First episode, New World Order. Right out of the gate, we're getting a setup for where our characters are at this point. We see that, Sam is kind of the beginning. This is the beginning of that tug of war battle that he's having with, whether or not he should have the shield. And at the end of the day, he ends up in this episode choosing to give the shield to the government, almost to kind of add it as like a commemorative piece to the Captain America museum piece and all that jazz. And this is kind of a setup episode for where both of our characters are. We see Sam kind of dealing with what's going on with his family after the blip and their fishing boat and all that jazz. And then we see Bucky, and Bucky right out of the gate for me was like the thing that really kind of pulled at my heart the most in this first episode, which is where we get that setup with him and the connection that he has with this older gentleman, who we later find out Bucky was responsible for the death of the son of this older gentleman. And yeah, overall, I thought it was a strong first episode. Episode opens up with a great action sequence of the Falcon having to take out, I can't remember the name of the character, but George St. Pierre's character, who we saw again since Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and there's this great desert action sequence, and yeah, there's tons of like character setup mainly in this first episode. So Justin, let's start with you. What did you think about the introduction to this series and where they kind of started off, both Sam and Bucky?
So it's really funny. There's a lot of movies and just like a lot of shows out there. And it's like, I'm not really hyped for that. Like I'll watch it, but it's like a whatever thing. And that's like it's how I felt about Han Solo originally before I saw it, and it's how I felt about this. I was like, like. I didn't really ask for this, but like, okay. So believe it or not, when I tried to watch the first episode, I was down in Atlanta with some buddies, and I had a lot to drink, and I was like, no, I don't want to do Falcon and Winter Soldier dirty like this. I want to watch them sober. So I kept putting it off. So when I finally watched it though, like I was just like, shit, this is like the entire MCU budget in the first 10 minutes. Like that, the action sequence was nuts. Like, I wish I could play as Falcon in a video game and just do that shit like free roaming around the city or something like that.
For sure, yeah, definitely, really cool.
Like just the story, the setup, like I did enjoy like seeing their personal lives, and like you were saying, I believe the older gentleman's name was Yuri. Was that right?
Yeah.
I was like right when I saw him, I was like, oh shit, that's gonna be his son. Like that dude was his son. I just know it. And so I was like, oh man, he's gonna be hiding that, and like that's gonna be like his inner demon the whole series. So, but I'm not gonna lie, like towards like the second, third, when they were talking about like Falcon was trying to get his sister alone, like at the bank and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to pick your guys' brain about this. I kind of thought I was like, okay, well, if Tony Stark was like this super rich dude, you think he would have at least like made sure the Avengers were just like comfortable, not like well off or nothing, but wouldn't you think like he would at least made sure they were comfortable? I mean, they all did save the world.
I guess you're right. Yeah, we're gonna say Rashad.
Well, I was gonna say, Tony Stark, as big a heart as he has, and he was like, I guess, second in command of the Avengers, but at the end of the day, Sam was Steve's guy. Rhodey was. So I'm pretty sure he looked out for Rhodey because give me back my Rhodey. Like that's his Rhodey. Sam, he can give two shits about Sam. Like in Civil War, like he blasted when not even looking at him. He don't give a shit about Sam.
Yeah, like I guess, dude, friends. Like I know they do explain it in the show. Like, and I know whatchamacallit, they were put on the raft in Civil War, right? So they were kind of like not blacklisted, but you know what I mean, like just thrown in jail and like be done with. But I was just like, I don't know, like it worked for some people, it didn't work for me, but at the same time, like I still get it. Like I'm not trying to say like that's stupid or anything, but
yeah, I guess it would also kind of depend on whether or not, like, I guess it really comes down to more like Pepper. You know what I mean? Pepper is just like holding on to the Stark money, and she's like,
Iron Man funds.
Like, yeah, they're good out there.
But no, like at the end of the episode, like I had watched this episode literally after driving back from Georgia. I saw Esley that morning. Yeah, I literally drove back from Georgia, 10-hour drive, and I was like, I literally watched it, and I was just like, oh my god, this great value Captain America they showed at the end. That's where all the memes are coming from. I was wondering where the hell they were coming from. Like I was just like, did I miss something? What the hell?
Great value. Yeah, no, I forgot to mention that. Like as we were talking about it, I go, okay, once Justin is done, I'm definitely gonna mention ending of the first episode, right out of the gate, we're introduced to Wyatt Russell as John Walker, the new Captain America. Instantly, as soon as I saw him, I go, U.S. agent, like 100%. Like, that's where we're going with this. It seems like they're setting up something very interesting with a few characters. The Thunderbolts, for anybody who's familiar with that group of characters. It's like kind of like a side character kind of like thing, kind of like the Avengers, but kind of like an underground Avengers kind of thing that has Thunderbolt Ross, from the Incredible Hulk and from Civil War, Colonel Ross.
Yeah, Colonel Ross.
You have him. You have Zemo. That's usually a part of that lineup as well. The U.S. agent. So it's kind of like this group of characters that kind of team up in the comic books to kind of do these other kinds of side missions, like kind of like a great value Avengers, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But
Justin, I gotta give you a couple of dollars for that, man. I'm gonna use that line. Great value Captain America. That's gold right there.
That's just like the perfect way to describe knockoff shit. I don't know, like this. Like I didn't invent it though. Just so you know.
Okay, well, I still got to use that though.
Well, let's hear your thoughts on that first episode, Rashad.
Oh, the first episode, like that opening, I was like, this is not a show. This is a movie. This is something that we could have seen on the big screen. So that opening action sequence had me like, oh shit. But the thing about Sam Wilson now, I gotta say it right now. Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie. I'm not a fan of Anthony Mackie's acting at all. I've never been a fan of his acting. It's just something about him. You just have some actors where you're like, I'm not feeling that guy. His line delivery, just everything about him, man. I don't like his, and that's nothing personal against him. Just as an actor, I'm not feeling him. So as long as he was doing Falcon stuff, it was cool. So as long as he's doing the action thing with the wings and the Red Wing, whatever the hell the thing is called, I'm in. But the moment he opens his mouth, that's where it loses me. So when it got to the whole thing with him and his sister on the ship and saving the family businesses and all that, I could care less. I did not care. Now with Bucky, like you said, Anthony, with Bucky, I was, my heart broke for him. You know what I'm saying? Like at first I was happy to see him as the Winter Soldier again, because let's face it, Winter Soldier's badass. I love, even though he did a lot of messed up things, but he's the fucking Winter Soldier. He's just a kick-ass character. But the inner turmoil that he deals with, my heart broke for the guy. So I was more invested what was going on with him. And when Sam came back on the screen, I'm like, no, can we just cut back to Bucky again? I don't want to see Sam. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't like Anthony Mackie as an actor. But the first episode was crazy. I dug it. It was a good intro into this series, and I was hooked after that.
Yeah, I definitely gotta disagree because I think that Anthony Mackie is a pretty good actor, and I think that we'll get specifically more on it later on. But I think especially in the final episode, he has a really great speech. Near the end of that, very Captain America.
I can't wait to talk about that last episode.
Yeah. I got Rocky IV vibes from that.
I thought
he could change, and you could change. Everybody could change. I'm like, that was straight up Rocky IV right there.
Yeah, I thought he was really good in that scene. There's moments of dialogue that are whatever. I think for the most part, I would say that the better actor of the two is Sebastian Stan for me overall, and I think his character is given a lot more complexity because Sam across all these movies has kind of just been more of a funny guy, kind of like guy that's the sidekick guy, But with I think the interesting thing about Bucky's story is that element of his very checkered past that he had no control over, and I love that this first episode really honed in on that, seeing him go to therapy. We know that him and Sam got the pardon after everything that's happened. And you definitely do feel for their characters. Before we move on, I did forget to do a lot of this last night during the Mortal Kombat stream, and I want to try to be better about it this time. We got some comments. We got Trav Tries in here saying yes. We got my dad in here saying good point, referring to you talking about, wouldn't have Stark kind of like financially help them out a little bit. He says, or just have an amazing GoFundMe. They save the
world. Who would not donate to Falcon's GoFundMe though? Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. Like you would think that they would have something that like would have funded the Avengers. You know what I mean? Like
he saved the world. What do I care about that guy? Who would say that?
Exactly. We got Q Reviews in here saying, "What up, though?" Came by to say what's up. Really appreciate it. My dad once again saying that he agrees with Rashad that he just acted okay on the show, referring to Anthony Mackie. So my dad.
I mean, can I give you an example?
Yeah.
Him and his sister's dialogue. Okay, the sister. I don't know the actress's name. I don't want to say she's a bad actress, but some people just don't have good chemistry. I never once believed that they was brother and sister. So there's a part on the boat, right, where she gets mad at him and she hits him, and he's like, "Ow, I forgot how hard you can hit. Hey, don't hit me again." The line delivery, I'm like, bro, you're worse than Hayden Christensen. You're worse than Anakin, man.
Like it seems like he forgot that last line was coming, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and they got that taken or something.
Exactly.
I mean, I think I've only seen him in like two other like he was in that one episode of Black Mirror, right?
Yeah, that was him. Yes,
I think it was like the Street Fighter kind of episode or whatever, and then he was in it was some movie where he like arrived on on like Earth like years later after it was like a Netflix film. It was like post-apocalyptic kind of. He was rescuing this girl. I forget
I know what you're talking about.
Remember, he was also in 8 Mile. He was Clarence in 8 Mile when him and Eminem had a battle.
Dude, I haven't seen it. I've never seen 8
Mile.
No, I gotta get around to it.
Yeah, what about Pain and Gain with The Rock?
We got
seen that one?
Q Reviews commenting in here. Anthony Mackie was Papa Doc in 8 Mile.
Yeah, 8 Mile. Yeah.
Yeah. And Prodigious came in here saying, "Dang, first thing I hear is Rashad saying he's not a fan of Anthony Mackie. Once again, he's always giving a surprise, but interesting opinion."
I gotta keep it a buck, man. Like I tried. Don't get me wrong, I tried.
Shit. Like,
yeah, I mean, even during these movies, man, like you said, Anthony, he's always the side character. He's always getting his ass kicked. Like him and Winter Soldier both got whooped by Spider-Man. He lost to Ant-Man. He got blasted by Iron Man. I can't name one time where he did some kick-ass in any of these movies. Now he's Captain America. Fuck out of here.
I think also too is like, this is just my opinion, but I think in today's day and age where we have Marvel, we have DC, Vertigo, all these other we have a comic book property, no matter what medium and so on, coming out like every month. So I think it's so oversaturated to the point that we're just holding it at a higher standard too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so plus the MCU has kind of delivered that higher standard comic book movie, specifically the MCU. You know what I mean? Like they've done a pretty good job of being the higher standard storytelling and character development for the most part. As far as majority of the comic books, but no, you're right for sure. And before we move on to the next episode, the second episode called "The Star-Spangled Man," what were you guys thinking right there at that final moment? We'll start with you, Rashad, when you see John Walker coming out.
So at the end of the first episode?
Yeah.
My first thought was, I said, look at Kurt Russell's boy. I said, over there, out there looking like his daddy. But I scratched my head. I said, Captain America. But as time went on, he actually became one of my favorite characters on the show.
Same.
Like he was getting a lot of shit online. People were coming after him, and I guess he got some death threats. But that just goes to show he did a great job playing that character, because I think that's what he was going for. But I never hated him. I understood why he was doing what he was doing. He's got to live up to Steve Rogers' Captain America. He's definitely not Steve Rogers. and I just thought he was an interesting character, man. You know, and
sure,
had a lot of edge to him. That's the one thing this show was kind of lacking, was characters with some edge, and John Walker was nothing but edge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. He was definitely, for me, I was excited to see how they would tackle his character, because in the comic books, and again, it kind of leans into what we were saying a moment ago about, people, sending him death threats. I think what people forget is, like, even if you don't know it, it's like, that is who the character is. Like, in the comic books, he is this character that means well, but almost to the extent where he's consistently making these unpopular decisions. And he's this guy who, like, allows his pride and his ego to kind of drive his decisions. He's not like a beloved character in the comic books as like, that's the most likable guy in the story, but he brings this element of kind of unpredictability, and like sometimes predictability to the point of like, oh, you already know how John Walker is going to react to this. Like, he's going to start some shit. And so it's just like when you're watching certain episodes later on in the show, that when he starts doing something or when something's going down, you're like, oh, once John Walker sees this, he's going to overreact, or he's going to put his foot down, and he's going to just make the situation worse. And in the comics, it's kind of the same thing. And so you need a character like that in the mix sometimes to kind of stir the pot. If not, you don't have an interesting story. So to see people kind of like thinking, oh my God, this guy's coming to replace Chris Evans forever, we have to send him death threats. It's like, there's a
how can you threaten? That's Kurt Russell's boy. Like, he looks and sounds just like Kurt Russell, man. Kurt Russell, I can never hate that guy.
Yeah, honestly. What were you thinking with that final shot, Justin?
So, like, here's the thing I wanted to touch a little bit upon. So I saw him right away. I was like, yeah, this dude's got a baby face. And like, not to talk about the next few episodes, but like, I think it's funny that like when they put him on as a presentation to the world, he was super clean shaven and he looked like he was 17. But when he's actually in the shit, he's got like the 5 o'clock shadow going on. He looks gritty and stuff. But right away, I was like, I know nothing about the character. I didn't know there was a replacement for Captain America besides, like, I assumed Falcon would take up the mantle at some point. But I looked up, I was like, new Captain America. And on Wikipedia it says John Walker. I'm like, okay, John Walker. I click it right away. It says something about like taking super serum and then saying U.S. agent. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I know what they're going to do with him then.
Yeah.
I think this is just me personally. I think I kind of want to stray away from like looking up characters and stuff like that until after a show's over, after a movie's over now, because eventually, like, I'm going to end up ruining it. I think that's what destroys people's expectations too.
Yeah.
It's like
with these characters that are so established, because that kind of happened with me when even with simply during WandaVision, I was in the first couple episodes, we're still in the whole black and white sitcom, like heavy sitcom stuff.
Yeah.
I was just looking up for the tags of the videos when I was doing the reviews. Yeah. I was looking up all the cast members, and at the time it was just the character of Geraldine. But then I was right there under. It literally said like Geraldine / Monica Rambeau. I didn't know that character was going to be Monica Rambeau until I saw it on IMDb. And I'm like, oh, damn it. Now I know who this is. I know the connection to Captain Marvel. So it's kind of that tough thing. It's like you either come into this with pre-established knowledge on these characters, or if you go to seek it to try to maybe understand some more, you'll probably be hinted at a lot of spoilers.
Because you do have a lot of people out there that just like they hold it to a higher standard, like I was saying, but it's just like, oh, they were this from the comics, or like, oh, they did it just like the comics, so there was no like surprise factor in the show. So, like, you get shit on either way now. But like, I don't like when I saw him, though, I was just like, okay, I'm interested in this. I didn't know if he was just like, oh, I found out, but at the time I saw it like that exact second. I didn't know if he was a super soldier or what they were doing, or how he would even handle the shield if he wasn't in hand. So a lot of thoughts running through my mind, but I was optimistic.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys about that before we move on is, something I thought was interesting was like, people were making all the jokes about how he looked, in the helmet and stuff like that. And it really makes you realize like how perfect the Captain America helmet fit Chris Evans, like his facial structure and everything. Like it was just so perfect for him. And it makes me wonder, do you think when they were casting Wyatt Russell that there was this element of like trying to make sure like not only that he doesn't fit the character, like, he has to be like this kind of off Captain America, but do you think they kind of purposely went out of their way to make sure like the helmet kind of looked a little off on him as well? Or do you think that was just kind of a coincidence?
No, I mean, if I'm a showrunner or producer or whatever, I would say they did it on purpose, kind of like Superman Bizarro, because of course, Yeah, it's Kurt Russell's boy, but he's not as pretty as Chris Evans. Chris Evans is like that. He's a pretty boy, man, you know.
Yeah.
But Wyatt Russell, he's that scruffy, you know, he's got that long protruding jaw and everything. So yeah, I think they did that purposely, you know, to contrast the two.
What do you think, Justin?
Well, like I said, it's kind of what I said earlier, because right when they showed him, he looked like this clean cut, like doofus. I'm not gonna lie, like like you were saying, it just looks like that shit like wasn't for him. But then in the next few episodes, you're just like, oh, okay, he's got the scruff now. It kind of suits him now.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
a good point. I never noticed that. Like, I didn't notice that he was clean shaven at first. And then as it went on, he got more scruffy. With it. So,
he got more scruffy through the episodes. I see Q in here also said, yeah, they made that helmet weird on purpose for sure. Yeah, I definitely, as I was watching, I was like, they must have done that on purpose so that it kind of, you as an audience member also feel like, God, that just doesn't look right on you, you know, so you don't sit right with us. But let's jump into episode 2, The Star-Spangled Man. This episode opens up giving us the whole kind of world introduction to Wyatt Russell's character, John Walker, to the world. We see that whole thing where he's like at a football game, you know, he's kind of having to play like the hello America, like, you know, like kind of play the character of Captain America. But we also get to see him like in a locker room at the beginning, like afraid to put the costume on. He's nervous. He's about to go out there, and you know, he knows the weight of what is going on, is, you know, what the weight is that is going to be on his shoulders. And I feel like this was a really good setup for his character to really kind of humanize him a little bit, setting him up for what would, you know, go on. And of course, later on, he ends up, you know, pissing off the fans with what would happen. But yeah, this is the episode where we get to see that, get that set up for his character. Meanwhile, we have Bucky, you know, pretty understandably upset that he's just learned that Sam has decided to give up the shield, you know what I mean? Which eventually leads us to that forced kind of weird therapy session with both Sam and Bucky at the end, where they interlock legs, which I found was pretty funny. And one of the kind of standout moment of that scene for me was Bucky saying to Sam, like, you know, you need to kind of, you know, step up. Like Steve saw something in you, and if he was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me. And I love the way Sebastian Stan delivered that line, and how that all played out. And then the episode ends with these characters being introduced to Isaiah Bradley, who was the Black Captain America from the comic books, and they throw in a scene during that whole thing where some cops show up to kind of, you know, like, give Falcon a hard time, definitely leaning into a lot of what's been happening in the world for a long time. So yeah, overall, what were your guys' thoughts? Rashad, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts on the events of this episode, and Marvel really, you know, definitely leaning into real world events of what's been happening with prejudice and racism and all that?
Yeah, I think that's a ballsy move on Marvel to do that, because you know, a lot of times with comic book properties and, you know, just pop culture stuff, you know, a lot of times they want to separate, you know, fantasy from reality. So don't bring politics and stuff into our entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So it was a ballsy move to do that, but it felt a little heavy-handed with the scene when the police showed up. I almost felt like we kind of didn't need that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't want to see this right now. Okay, we see enough of this in the real world. I just want to escape reality and just, you know, not focus on that. But it was a little heavy-handed there, but it didn't really annoy me. And the stuff with Isaiah Bradley, I thought was cool, because my pop always told me that there was a Black Captain America first, but I never believed him. Only one I knew was Steve Rogers. So it was cool that we bring in this unsung hero that we didn't know about and how bitter he was. You know what I mean? And I think that was the start of Falcon's turn to, okay, maybe I do need to step up and represent, because here was this guy that existed around the same time as Steve, and he just got totally dismissed. And here it is, Steve gave me an opportunity to take this mantle, and I blew it. You know what I mean? So I think that was the start of the arc, you know, of his character arc. So, yeah, I thought it was a dope episode. You know, no complaints except for that scene where the police showed up. And I'm probably forgetting something. I'm probably not going to remember until Justin starts talking.
Yeah, right.
I was going to say really quickly, similar to what I did with the first episode, forgot to mention the stinger. And Rashad, I want to hear your thoughts first before we go to Justin. But episode ends with, you know, everything that's gone down, blah, blah, blah. You know, that Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of went on their own little adventure, try to find some information about the Flag Smashers. They end up coming into contact with John Walker. There's that like scene where they end up like riding in the back of the truck with him, and he's like literally tells him like, I want to be, like if I can be cool with Steve's two guys, then we can, things will be okay. There's that scene where they're fighting the Flag Smashers on top of the trucks, and John Walker shows up with Battlestar, and they jump on top of the semi trucks. And there's that whole action sequence. Really enjoyed all that. Episode ends with John Walker pretty much telling the two of them, like, stay out of my way.
Out of my way, yeah.
And both Sam and Bucky then decide to go see Zemo, and the episode ends with us seeing Daniel Bruhl. And, that's the setup for the next episode where Zemo is introduced. So I forgot to mention that, but what were your thoughts on those elements, Rashad?
They did John Walker dirty. They did him dirty. Like, I don't see why people say he's such a bad guy, man. He's extending his hand. He's saying, like, hey, man, look, I know I'm not Steve Rogers, man. I'm just trying to be the best Captain America I can be. But then he did say something after that, because I think Sam was along for what he was saying until he said that last little thing. He said, you know what? It's always that last line that ruins it. So they never gave the guy a chance, and it's funny how when he finally snaps and starts, going off the rails, now they want to be like, hey, man, we're here for you. We're here to help you. How can we be there for you? Like, nah, where was you at when I was trying to, fuck with y'all to begin with? Y'all just dissed me, so no, don't come with that now. I felt him on that. So yeah, Sam and Bucky, they were assholes for how they did him in the beginning.
Gotcha.
That's my take on that.
What do you think? What do you think, Justin? How did this episode hit you?
I mean, I was hyped because I believe episode 2 is the first episode. Aaron Kellyman makes an appearance, right? As the girl from Han Solo's Empress Nest.
From Solo, yeah.
Yeah. But no, like, I'm not gonna lie, I always had a crush on her. I thought she was really cute. I was just like, oh yes, she's in something else now. Thank God. So like, I'd love to see her come back in Solo, but I'm happy to see her in a Marvel property now. And like, I don't know, I just thought the whole concept of the Flag Smashers worked for me. Like, I liked the whole thing about like, what was it, like 5 years after? And I just lost my train of thought for a second. Can anyone save me?
It happens to me all the time, man.
You were thinking about Aaron Kellyman.
Yeah, no. But what was it? It was like 5 years after they believed that, like,
the blip. Well, they said life was better when
during the blip.
Yeah. I don't know why I just went like. Yeah. So, but no, I think that's kind of cool because like they're kind of pulling that whole blip thing into reality, because you had like WandaVision, which is like some like not hokey, but just like very fantasy like, and then you had Spider-Man Homecoming that kind of made a joke out of the blip. Yeah. So it was kind of nice to see like after Endgame how some people are like grounding it in reality and trying to like bounce back from that. So I really saw it from their point of view, but like you were saying, it was cool to see John Walker and Battlestar. That's his name, Battlestar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that whole fight sequence. I like the scene where they're fighting on top of all the equipment and stuff like that. But I think that was the first scene where we saw John Walker throw the shield, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, someone who's not powered. Like I feel like they just shouldn't be using that shield. I don't know. Like, no offense to Falcon at the end of the episode or nothing like that, but and I know vibranium's supposed to be lighter than anything else, right? Is that wasn't that the whole thing with it?
Yeah, like it's like super strong, but it's not as like. But it's also heavy for some people. But I guess it's lighter, which is part of why it can just fly. But like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's a fake metal, so it's they kind of make up their own rules.
Ooh, mystical metal.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. Like I said, I'm really happy you guys are here to help jog my memory on certain things, because I did like watch the episodes, like just like you watch them once and then move on. I don't know if you guys rewatched them or not, but like Isaiah Bradley, dude, like I will just go out and say this. He was my favorite character. Like him and John Walker, like tied.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be like one of the main two characters, Sebastian Stan or Anthony Mackie, but nah, dude, it's just like, I really felt for Isaiah. And like Rashad, what you were saying about the whole like police thing coming in and like kind of pulling the show into reality, I like that personally, but again, like I don't know what it's like to be someone of color or anything like that. So I just like, it helped me like put myself in someone else's shoes. But I think the screenwriter for the show didn't he work on the show Atlanta?
I don't. I have no
Like,
idea.
I'm not too sure. Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure. Like when I was
yeah.
Wikipedia, I think he previously like worked on Atlanta. So I was like, okay, that makes sense if he's like trying to put like realistic plot lines in this. I think that was the whole appeal of Winter Soldier, like Captain America: Winter Soldier. They were like putting Falcon was in that group with Steve Rogers, and it was for like people with PTSD kind of and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, I like the real aspects coming into the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with what Rashad said though. Like that scene just felt kind of like shoehorned in there, just because like for me mainly also like if I'm not mistaken, like that scene took place like kind of like what it was kind of seemed like it was kind of like in the hood, you know what I mean? Like kind of just like in like a black like centric like
I would have to
neighborhood.
watch it again.
So like you just why were these two random cops just like pulling up in the middle of the street in like a a black community, and it's like stop, what are you doing? It's like they were just walking in the middle of like the street, you know.
I mean, that does happen. That it does happen.
I mean, I believe it does. I believe it does.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, like you said, it just felt out of place for I mean, I guess I get why they did it, but it just felt out of place in the episode.
Yeah, what I was trying to say earlier, like the stuff with Isaiah Bradley and him like talking about his struggle, like that's what I was talking about. But like what you were saying about the like whole police thing coming in, like I'd have to watch it again to have a proper opinion on that.
Yeah.
I can't. I
agree. The
well.
Isaiah Bradley stuff was very heartbreaking, man. Like what he said, what they did to him, and everything that's like wow, man. I mean, you understand why he's bitter,
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now he was described as like he wasn't like he wasn't super strong or anything like that, but he was just like the peak human being, like he was old. He lived longer than other people. He was perfect health. He didn't get fatigued, but like he wasn't like super powered or anything, right? Wasn't that it?
Well, no, he was a super soldier.
Yeah,
there's a scene where he has like the cup or the mug or whatever, and he like throws it against the wall and it makes the indent. So like he was like a super soldier back then, and that's why when they walk out, you have Sam looking at Bucky, and it's like, how could you guys not have told me that there was a black super?
Yeah. Like he was like he's just like Steve didn't know, I think, or anything, right? Like
he's like Steve didn't know exactly.
That's what I thought. I thought it's like somewhere it explained that like he was like wasn't as strong as Steve, but he was still like peak like human, like a little bit superior, or maybe like peak human performance. I like I said, it's something where my brain kind of like might have turned off for a second. So,
well, from my understanding, because it was a whole bunch of test subjects, and for whatever reason, the other test subjects failed, but he was like the only one that actually like came out like close to Steve. So that's why they used his blood to, I guess, concentrate it and make more serum for what we see. That Carly girl used. You know what I'm saying? That was all his blood. Yeah. So they was trying to figure out why is it that all these test subjects failed and you didn't. That says because of that melanin, man. That melanin, something else.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hop into episode 3, The Power Broker. This is the episode where we get to see Zemo again right out of the gate. Sebastian Stan, Bucky goes and ends up breaking him out. There's that whole thing. He breaks him out pretty easily too. I kind of feel like they could have made a whole episode of a prison break kind of thing, like because. He's at like maximum security, and we don't get to see it happen. We just know that he broke him out, and they keep moving with the story. But I couldn't help but feel like they could have had like a whole episode that was kind of like a prison break,
like strategically planning everything, like distract this, cause a fight there, like do this, do that.
That could have been a cool episode. Like they could have done something really cool there. But majority of the episode takes place in Madripoor, which is kind of just like this. Scum, you'll never find a place of,
I knew it was coming.
But a place of scum and villainy, and so definitely this place that we've seen in a lot of movies and TV shows, this place that just like, it's just a hive for people who are terrible. And they end up going there. They're looking for information about the super soldiers and the flag smashers and everybody who's involved. Things end up going wrong, and we got this great action sequence that ends up breaking out later on. This episode was actually, if I'm not mistaken, directed. I'm going to double check, but I believe this episode was actually directed by the same person who did. Let me see. The writer, I think it is actually. Yeah, the writer of this episode was actually the same writer of John Wick, and
okay.
Nice.
That makes sense now. I'm
there's
thinking
very John Wick-esque vibes with the episode, and there's even that whole element near the end of the episode where they realize, they're in trouble now, and like all the villains around them are getting like a text at the same time.
I got that vibe right away. I was like, oh shit, John Wick too.
Very, very John Wick.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. We have that whole thing. We got Sharon Carter being introduced in the episode. Everybody right out of the gate, pretty much assumed online that she was the power broker. We ended up getting that reveal later on in the series. But yeah, for the most part, this was an episode that was, just kind of like the reintroduction of Zemo. We finally get to see him in his comic book accurate mask. Tons of really cool action throughout, some great character moments. But overall, what did you guys think about this episode? We'll start with you this time, Justin.
Overall, episode 3, it's kind of like you said, like it was like a prison break episode, and it was very straightforward, and what you thought happened would happen. They broke them out. They advanced the plot slightly, but there were some little things peppered in here or there. And,
real quick, I also want to mention real quick before you continue your thoughts. I forgot again to mention, episode ends with the Wakandans coming for Zemo.
The Dora, what do you call it? The Dora Milaje, I think they're called.
The Dora Milaje. Yeah. It was the character of Aya, I believe, or the same Wakandan character that we saw in the first Wakandan that we saw with them in Civil War. She'd also appear in Black Panther again, and I believe in Infinity War as well. So it's cool to kind of see her character appearing. But anyway, continue with what you were saying.
No. Like I said, I'm happy because I have, like I said, wicked bad ADHD. So hearing you guys help me, all the power to y'all. Appreciate it. But episode 3 is the one where you got that the Zemo meme of him dancing at the club, right?
Yeah.
Did that. That was priceless, man. I love that. I was actually really happy to see him return because I was just like, in Captain America: Civil War, you're just like, well, Zemo was the villain, right? And everyone's just like, but was he though? But like, wouldn't you consider like Iron Man or Tony Stark like the villain to Cap? Like the heroes were pitted against each other, so Zemo was just like a supporting character. I don't know, but I was happy to finally get a focus on him for sure.
Yeah, for sure. He was kind of like the Lex Luthor of like Batman versus Superman, you know what I mean? Like kind of like the guy kind of starting the fight, I think they handled it a lot better in Civil War. He was a good villain. But I just think for me as a longtime fan, I was like, man, you have Zemo in a movie. He could have been anybody. You don't put the mask on him. You don't give him like the time to, this is a comic book movies.
There's no distinction there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to see him.
So I heard, like I said, I did Wikipedia like Madripoor or whatever. I was just like, I wonder if there's but apparently like Madripoor is something used like a lot in the X-Men universe. Is that right?
Maybe
like the comics from what I looked up.
Yeah, maybe if it is, I can't remember, to be completely honest. I've read plenty of X-Men comics, but I can't remember off the top of my head. If anybody who's watching live knows, or even if you're watching this after the fact, please do comment. But yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's all my thoughts on episode 3. Honestly, like I said, it's not like it was a filler episode or anything like that, but there just wasn't too much eventful. That's the one where it ends with like Sharon, Bucky, and Sam all locked in that storage crate, right?
Yeah, well, there's that whole thing at the end where they find that guy who's like kind of part of he's kind of part of like creating the serum. He only had
they found that dude in there and they tried to like destroy some of it, but they got away.
Zemo ends up shooting the guy. Yeah.
And of course, John Walker had to find that one. He had to do that head tilt, like, huh?
Yeah.
Let's even the playing field. He just really like oversold that, but yeah.
Yeah, like definitely a little bit of overacting in a couple scenes. What did you look right here? We see News to Astonish, who is one of my friends here, and he also does specifically comic book related stuff over on his channel. So he just confirmed that it is a location used a lot in the X-Men comics.
Like I not to cut off Rashad, but I don't claim to know shit about comics because a lot of people who do get mad that stuff isn't comic accurate. Besides, honestly, News to Astonish because he does his research, but it's just like a lot of people seem to flip out with stuff they didn't actually read; they just read on Wikipedia.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. There are a lot of people like that.
Well, let me share a quick story with you. I did a video a few years ago about the Hulk, how they dissed him in Infinity War, and I was just, I'm a big Hulk fan, so I was hurt by what they did to him. So I did a whole video about it ranting, and man, I had a couple of comic nerds come after me. They was like, bro, what are you talking about? You know, yeah, the Hulk this and Thanos that, and pick up a comic book, you don't know shit. And I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about the movies, man, not the comics. Like, chill. It's like, oh, you effing idiot, you know, just giving me the business. By the time they got done with me, I want to go hug my mama, man.
The internet is a cruel place, Rashad.
Oh my goodness. All right, so is it my turn to talk about the episode? Or
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, who's the actor that plays Zemo?
His name is Daniel Bruhl.
Daniel Bruhl. He owns that role, man. Like with Civil War, I mean, the way they utilized him, I get it, but you didn't really remember Zemo in that movie. You just remember Captain America fighting Iron Man, the airport scene. Zemo's the last thing you talk about when it comes to Civil War. So this time around, he owns the role. You could tell he's having fun with it. And he just like he's the villain. He's the bad guy, you know, not Carly. I mean, Carly is the focus of what they have to take down with the flag smashes, but Zemo is the guy like that. He just has villainy all over him. Like his aura, you see that shit. Okay. So yeah, love.
And then they have to work together.
Oh yeah, definitely. And when the Dora Milaje showed up, I forgot her name. When she showed up, I said, "Oh shit, Wakanda's in the house. Zemo's in trouble." I said, "Zemo's in trouble, man." And yeah, when John Walker, when he got the serum, I said, "Oh, here comes trouble." But I think we all knew it was coming. We knew he was going to get the serum, and he was going to, it was going to be some shit. But now I'm like, okay, it's about to get real. It's about to be some shit, you know. And we see that in the next episode where Bucky, you know, I know you're going to get to that, but when Bucky like stopped him, like, "Hey, back off." And remember, he kind of stepped back, he looked down, and he was like, "It's so easy for you, isn't it? All that serum running through your veins." I'm like, "Oh, we can't wait to take it." He cannot wait to take it and get back at him. So, yeah, like you said, Justin, there's no filler episodes. Like, it's only 6 episodes. There's no filler, man. Each episode brought something new to the table, man, and I enjoyed this one as well.
For sure. Yeah, I think overall this was one that when I look back at it, big highlight moments, but definitely not one of my favorite episodes in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really know what my favorite, or I think the finale is probably my favorite one. I just think they did a really good job of wrapping it up personally. We'll get into that a little bit more. Difference of opinions, right. I'm sure. But let's hop into the next episode, which was one of my favorite episodes in the series. The whole world is watching. Yeah, this episode picks up right out of the gate. And there's some great banter between Falcon, Winter Soldier, Sharon Carter, and Zemo through this. There's one great scene that I really enjoyed where we see Zemo talking. You know, they're talking about super soldiers, right? We know that Zemo's stance on super soldiers in general, like he's just like wants these people killed. And, you know, Falcon, I believe, makes the comment of like, you know, but then there was Steve Rogers. And I love this moment because Zemo kind of acknowledges, he goes, but there hasn't been another Steve Rogers. So even he who hates, you know, super soldiers recognizes that Steve Rogers was like this pinnacle of a human being.
Yeah.
Right. That like it was like a rarity that ended up getting the serum in them. But yeah, there's some great action sequences in this episode. Once again, this is the episode where the Dora Milaje end up whooping John Walker's ass, and we just get to see Bucky and Sam off to the side, just kind of watching and like, should we help? You know, this and that. And this definitely is where it starts to kind of edge John Walker into really flipping his lid, start to lose his mind a little bit. And yeah, there's a lot of really great moments in this episode, and I would say overall I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And then it ends with one of the most shocking endings in the entire episode with leading into what the title says, the whole world is watching, as John Walker, our new Captain America, decides to completely and utterly shove that shield straight into somebody's chest. You know, I love the way it was shot and edited, because you don't have to see the shield going into the guy. You don't have to see all that much of gore or blood.
Yeah, like intestines hanging out or nothing.
Yeah, the blood that they put on the bottom of the shield, his face, the blood splatters on his face, the way it was edited, the aggression, I really, really enjoyed that. And the scene before that, I really do feel for Lamar, Battlestar. You know, I feel like he's a good character in the comic books, and they just killed him off so early in this show. And you know, obviously it's to kind of set John Walker's path here. But yeah, you do feel for his character. You know, kind of just essentially gets smacked to the side, hits his head on a pillar from Aaron Kellyman's character, Carly Morgenthau, and this will just set up the revenge path for our U.S. agent moving forward. And again, everybody's watching, everybody's filming as he's just completely murdered this man in the middle of the streets with his newfound abilities with the super soldier serum. So yeah, we'll start with you, Rashad, this time. What did you think of this episode?
Well, isn't it ironic that the guy he killed with the shield was the same guy that said he was a big fan of Captain America growing up? I was a huge Captain America fan and gets taken out by the damn shield. This was actually, I think this is my favorite episode out of all 6 of them.
Yeah,
this is my favorite episode because you really got to see Carly and what her cause was about. So like with most villains, they never know that they're the villain. They don't think they're the villain. They think what they're doing is right, and I think that's what makes a good villain. So I really did like her character more this episode. And to see that really well. What's that?
They handled that really well. The whole Carly Morgenthau. Like, I think that this show, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think this show did a good job of, like, there's no black and whites in this situation. You know what I mean? Right. Everybody's sides of the story, and coming from everybody's angle, everybody's perspective, it's kind of challenged. What a terrorist is, what an extremist is, what is the right thing to do, who's the hero. Like, it's on every side, you see different things. You know what I mean? One thing I will mention real quickly before you continue your thoughts is, you have the Dora Milaje showing up there, and she's, what's his name? Captain America. John Walker's like, they're like, the Dora Milaje don't have jurisdiction here, and she's like, the Dora Milaje have, jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje finds
wherever the hell we're at.
And in reality, that's something that he would say too. You know what I mean? Like he is that kind of character where he would show up somewhere and they'd be like, Captain America doesn't have a jurisdiction here. Captain America has jurisdiction wherever he would, shows up. So I like the fact that the show kind of plays with really where you stand on this in the fight is going to be how you view things. You know what I mean? There is no black and white in this situation. It's kind of all a gray area. But anyway, continue with what you're saying, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everybody has their cause, and like, there's no evil diabolical plan like, hey, I want $1 million. Like, everybody has their own cause and everybody feels that they're doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. And this is my favorite episode because the Dora Milaje came and they showed out. They whooped John Walker so bad where he was discouraged. If you ever watched Game of Thrones, like, I thought about when Tyrion, when he got bitch slapped. No, not Tyrion. Joffrey, when Tyrion bitch slapped Joffrey, and Joffrey sat there and was like, I couldn't do anything about it. John Walker was sitting there like, and they weren't even powered. And he was so butthurt by that. And I did not see that coming when he just Donkey Konged your boy with that shield. I did not see that coming. So yeah, it was shocking. You learn more about the characters, you appreciate the characters more. Sam still can't win a fight. And but it was my favorite episode. I know I'm gonna throw shade on him this whole series. I'm sorry,
Go for it, man. Go for it.
He ain't got no fighting game. He can't. Besides the wings, he can't fight. Sam gets whooped by everybody. How you gonna be Captain? Hold up. How you gonna be Captain America and lead these new Avengers? Because eventually we're gonna get some new Avengers. Okay.
Yeah.
You got these powered characters, and most likely the next big bad guy is probably gonna be Dr. Doom or Galactus. You telling me that Sam, no fighting Wilson, is going to be able to lead a team to take on Dr. Doom or Galactus? No. Miss me with that. No. No.
Yeah, Rashad's funny.
And that's it. That's all.
What do you think, Justin?
I mean, to what he said, episode 4 was definitely my favorite. I think it was really cool that we got not just like a face-off between Sam and Carly, but just like that made me more nervous than an actual like superhero villain battle, because you have Carly and Sam talking and like they're not on the same level, but they're trying to put each other in their own shoes. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? They're trying to like see it from the other person's perspective, all while like John Walker's just like, Like he's like, this is taking too long. Like I'm on this bum rush their asses. And everyone, they're trying to hold him back. And I was just like, yo, some shit's about to blow up and it's going to go at exactly the wrong time. Something bad's got to happen because like you were about to establish some sort of like middle ground. But yeah, what Rashad was saying, he's just like, they're not even super soldiers. Like he just got up and like, honestly, when I saw him, like he took the serum and what Anthony was saying too, like when you see him beating him with that shield, like, all right, like I'm getting like mad, like 2019, like Joker vibes from this and shit like that. Like he's just tired of people messing with him. So he's like, yo, you fucking deserve. Like,
right.
But so that just, it put it more in realism for me just because of the fact that like MCU, like hasn't established blood too often, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's a scene where like even Thanos gets his head like chopped off by Thor, but it's like more or less comedic. Like his head just rolls off like something from like a Saturday morning cartoon or something like that.
And it doesn't really like focus in on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But no, it was a really effective episode. And like you were saying, how like that was the episode where Zemo just like walks out, right? Like
he just dips out. Yeah. Like in the middle of the action, he's just out. And I also want to make reference to what you were just saying right now because you were talking about that great moment between and this is I think where Anthony Mackie shined for me was that's why I think I really enjoyed his performances overall. The dialogue he was given sometimes was really strong, and I think he delivered it well. That whole dialogue, that discourse between him and Carly before John Walker barges in and is just like, all right, you guys have had enough time to talk. I really enjoyed seeing that kind of understanding on both sides, that respect for one another was slowly kind of being built. And in the end of that sequence ends up kind of, his, what's it called? I believe that's the same sequence where Falcon's wings end up getting destroyed, or I think that might actually happen at the beginning of the next episode. We'll get into that in a second.
I think that was the next episode.
That's the beginning of the next episode because we're going to get into the great fight between the three of them. But I really did enjoy that conversation between Carly and Anthony Mackie's character.
I'll give him that. I know I'm shitting on him. I'll give him that.
I felt like he handled the dialogue really well. Maybe some of the big moments or the comedic moments, maybe he's not Mr. Funny Man when it comes to some of these lines of dialogue. Yeah. But when I think of like the really shining moments for Falcon in this series, it's that scene right there and the great speech and honestly the entire last episode, I think Anthony Mackie, I think that was the best Falcon stuff that we've gotten in the entire MCU personally.
Best Falcon stuff, but not Sam Wilson sucks.
It's so funny because I went to like high school with a dude named Sam Wilson, so I just think of him all the
time. All right, let's move on to the next episode. Episode is titled Truth, and this is the episode essentially where Sam just really decides that he is indeed going to take on the mantle of Captain America. It takes time throughout the course of the episode, but
montage.
Yeah, we get to see.
Gotta have a montage.
I also want to make reference real quick before we move on to this next episode. Real quick, how fucking cool was it that in the last episode, in the fourth episode, that when the Dora Milaje showed up, you have Bucky trying to kind of fight them off to kind of stop them from fighting John Walker, and they kind of do like this, like these little.
His arm fell off. Yes, that was crazy.
And I was just like, man, like here he comes in, like ready to fight, and they're like, all right, listen, we gave you this arm, but here I'm going to put in my little secret code and just turn it off. Yeah. And I love that. And he
the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away.
They did that like William Stryker shit that did the Logan in X2.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, we made you, like, we know your flaws, like we got
exactly like they handle that really well. I like that. But the episode 5 Truth opens up with an epic action sequence. Like literally the title sequence is this great action sequence between Captain America, the new Captain America, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and they're all fighting together. Really enjoyed this because I feel like this is where, for me, Falcon was able to really shine in the action because you have Bucky, who really was the saving grace in this moment because he was the one super soldier versus another super soldier. But I liked seeing some of these sequences and how Falcon uses his wings to sometimes like cement himself into the ground to get like a really good blow.
Yeah.
And, the way he used his wings to kind of fight throughout the entire time, I found that to be a really, really good time. But yeah, really solid episode. And I think the big standout moment for me, there's some great moments, I should mention really quickly with, the Winter Soldier hanging out with Sam and his family. And, you get to see the young boys, Sam's nephews playing with the shield and kind of like being able to see, these young black boys.
The same shield that mauled somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we get to see
like,
that.
Cool.
We see that Bucky is like, definitely wanting to get with Sam's sister. He's definitely
he was trying to tap that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the standout moment though for me really was him going back to Isaiah Bradley and him pretty much telling him, like, with everything that's happened in the past, no self-respecting black man would ever take on the role of Captain America. And I love that. Then he has a conversation with his sister, and his sister pretty much tells him, like, are you going to let other people define you? And and all of that jazz. And at the end of the episode, we do see that he was given some briefcase that's kind of treated almost like the briefcase from the briefcase from Pulp Fiction, kind of like you want to see what's inside of it, but you can't.
Yeah.
And he ended up opening it up. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I know exactly what I knew the suit. I saw the suit in my head. I'm so familiar with him being Captain America in the comic book. So for me, I was like, I knew that's what was in there, or at least I was hoping that's what was in there. And episode ends with him making the decision to, with everything else that he's heard, with Isaiah Bradley's, opinion on it, to say, screw that, I'm gonna be Captain America, and he's doing the whole training montage. So Justin,
gotta have a montage.
Yeah, exactly. Justin, we'll start with you this time around. I'm actually gonna go run really quickly and take a leak because I'm dying. But go ahead and say your piece. I'll be able to hear you guys, and I'll be right back soon.
Okay, so I'm gonna just talk to you, Rashad, and the audience.
Okay. What's happening?
And Anthony can listen. So, I mean, I actually I enjoyed this episode, like Anthony was saying for previous ones. Like, it wasn't my favorite, like similar to episode 3, but it did have some more stuff, so I did like it more than episode 3. All the stuff with John Walker, how he actually was brought into the military. They stripped him of everything, and then I believe that's the episode where Julia Louis-Dreyfus was introduced.
Yes.
Like she was introduced real quick. And I don't know if this is true or not, but some people were saying online that apparently her character was supposed to debut in Black Widow first.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I saw that pop up online, and I didn't click into it or anything like that. Sorry if it's true. Sorry if I messed that up for you or something.
Yeah, well,
I could
supposed to come out last year, so it would make sense if her character appeared there first. Because
I also
dropped a long time ago.
Yeah, I also heard Florence Pugh was supposed to be in this show, who's Natasha's so to speak sister in Black. But people post it all the time. That's why I don't click on them all the time. So
right.
But no, yeah, that was cool. You were saying the thing towards the end of the episode. Brain fart again. Save me.
the montage, Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, the montage. So that's the thing I thought was interesting, because when Sam throws the shield, you see him really winding back, harder than Steve does. Steve is just shoom, 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 and Sam whoop, as hard as he possibly could. And he was trying to catch that shit, and as he caught it, he was getting knocked on the ground, and he had terrible balance, and he just sucked at it. But no, overall, it was a good episode. I just once you guys start talking about it, I might end up chiming in so I remember more stuff about it. Mm-hmm. But the end of the episode, to what Anthony was saying, I thought what was his Anthony Mackie's techie guy in the show, the one who was the Mexican dude.
Yeah, he ends up leaving him the wings.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be Falcon in the last episode or something like that.
Yeah, because he's Falcon in the comic books. He's a separate Falcon. So when
I found that out.
Yeah, when he leaves him the wings, he's the broken wings. You can keep those. That's kind of like a hint and nod, because in the comic books he kind of becomes his new sidekick as the new Falcon, as he becomes the new Captain America.
But maybe season 2. Or Captain America 4 that's supposedly in development now.
Yeah, Captain America 4 is apparently in development. But one thing I want to mention is that with WandaVision, the the show ended and the final episode was simply titled the series finale, and they marketed it that way on social media. Whereas with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the final episode was marketed as the finale of the season finale. So everybody's speculating that we're be able to get more seasons out of this.
Yeah, because I know they didn't announce anything, but like it's. Once you say that, you leave it open. So I like when stuff's left open like that.
And it makes the most sense with something like this because WandaVision, because of the nature of its story, felt very much like that should be a one-off season. You know what I mean? Not that you can't do more with Wanda and Vision in another season, but I don't really think that it's necessary. Whereas with this, you can come in after another, movie with these characters and be like, hey, we're going to, explore these characters a little more. But what about you, Rashad? What did you think about the episode Truth?
Well, agreeing with you, my favorite moment was when he did have that conversation with Isaiah Bradley. And though you know how I feel about Sam's character, I've been shitting on him this whole podcast or whatever. But that was a very powerful scene. That was a powerful scene because, of course, speaking as a black man, like I know a lot of older black people that they survived Jim Crow South. They know the nightmares about what happened. So they will tell you like, look. White people will never allow this. White people will never allow that. Black people can never do this. Black people can never do that. So it's because of their experiences to them, it's not a reality. You know what I mean? And of course, for my generation, the generation that's coming after me, that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? Like things are different now. We're different and we can do things that we couldn't do back in those days. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I just thought that was a powerful scene because it was realistic because I still hear that to this day, from some of the elders. They're like, boy, black folks can't do that. Like my father, when Obama became president, not to get on the political tip, but when Obama became president, my father cried because being a black president, that was unheard of. He had a better chance of winning the Powerball than having a black president. You know what I'm saying? So, very powerful scene. It actually brought a tear to my eye watching it because I just know about that. You know what I mean? And then of course, got to have a montage. So they cuts to Sam like, okay, well, I'm gonna show him. Yes, there can be a black Captain America, and I'm gonna show you. I said, yes, okay, I'm behind this. Can you please take some serum now? Can you please just take? I don't know in the comics if he takes a serum or not, but I'm like, okay, bro, okay, I'm getting behind this now. But can you please take the serum? It's bad enough you can't fight. Can you at least even the playing field and add some serum with those wings?
Were you surprised that like the government? As far as John Walker is concerned, were you surprised that the government didn't throw him in jail?
Oh yeah, very surprised because he committed fucking murder. You know what I mean? So
yeah, they did. They stripped him of everything, right? But they were just like, you're free to go, kind of.
You're free to go. I guess. Yeah. That's at the time I didn't think about that, but that is a good point. Yeah, he should have definitely got thrown in the penitentiary for murder. So yeah, he did get off with a slap in the wrist, like, Shaman, you give us a shield, now go along and play.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I didn't even think about that myself either. Like and I guess that leans in more to some of the themes because this series is very strong with themes, especially a lot about things of the real world, And it's funny because there's criticisms here and there, but most people that I've seen who did not like this are like, oh, the show was too woke. I didn't like it. Like, oh, Marvel should stay out of politics. And if that's the most that you have to say on a as far as a critique of this show, then you're showing your colors for sure. You're showing your colors.
Yeah, like I had a buddy, and then they're not like racist by any means. It's just like something where they're just like they're white, so they're kind of oblivious to this thing. But like they were just like, oh yeah, like they overdid a little bit with the black struggle stuff, and I was just like, I mean, like, well, me and you aren't black, so like, how the hell should I know? Like,
Right. Yeah, I think it's important to bring these kind of things into the story. I think like with WandaVision, that show did a good job of touching on grief, you know what I mean, and in a really real way, something I think a lot of people can really relate to. And so with this, if you're going to touch on something like a black man taking on the mantle of Captain America, you have to talk about what's happening in the world and all that jazz. And I liked having that the various kind of viewpoints with somebody like Isaiah Bradley being a black man saying, screw that, like no self-respecting black man would ever do this. And Sam still kind of wanting to take on the mantle for everything that he's gone through and everything that the black community has gone through in the past to kind of be able to step forward and take on this role, which leads into the next episode again where that really great speech, and him talking about knowing that he's got judgmental eyes on him, because it's like the reality situation is I'm sure even when Obama became president, there were people there were black folk that probably thought, no self-respecting black man would take on the role of president. Like, I can't imagine that it was an abundance of people, but I have to imagine.
It was a few. It was a few. A few of them in my family. Yeah, it was a few of my family. Like, oh man, Obama, he a terrorist. He working for the devil. Like, really?
Exactly.
I heard all kind of
people
crazy
are going to think what they're going to think either way.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
I see really quick. We see Prodigious asked, which do you guys believe is more likely to happen? Season 2 of Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or Captain America 4, or both? I think honestly, we're gonna get both of them for sure.
Oh, keep it going, man. I like where it's going.
I think both too. I mean, they got enough story like season 2 of Captain. Here's the thing that's also you have to ask. You have to say, like, if we do Captain America 4, or once we are shown Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you have to make the movies for 2 audiences: the people who have seen the Disney Plus shows and the people who haven't.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a challenge too.
It's going to be tough moving forward because, like, I tell people all the time, people who are fans of this stuff, and I'm like, oh, have you seen WandaVision? The Falcon? Oh, no, I haven't watched it. I'm like, you're going to have to, because, like, I think that's part of them trying to get everybody onto Disney Plus. It's kind of like with Star Wars, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell a story that makes connections, but, like, we talked about it during our spoiler discussion for Mandalorian Season 2. They introduced a lot of characters that are from the animated stuff. Rashad has been watching the animated stuff, so he was able to get a lot more of that context like I was. But I know when I was talking to you, Justin, you were kind of missing out on some of these little elements.
Yeah, certain things I wanted to see, and say like Kenobi or something like that. I was just like, oh, I really want to see this. I want to see that. People just like, oh, well, they touched upon this in Rebels. I was like, yeah, but I haven't seen that. So I was just like, but this is getting off topic, but like with the way that Star Wars was going, they're trying to take characters that have been established in those animated shows and move them forward. So maybe they're trying to find a middle ground, like I'm trying to say what Marvel is doing with these 2 different audiences they have.
Yeah, I am curious to see though if there is, because I'm sure without a doubt the next Captain America movie, the next Marvel movie that includes Sam, he's going to be Captain America, and there's going to be a percentage of the audience that's just like, when
did that happen?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just going to be, or they've already said that Scarlet Witch is going to be a huge part of the next Doctor Strange movie. So it's like you're going to get into that next movie, and she's going to be in a whole new outfit. There's going to be a whole different development to her character. She's going to be in such a different place. And if you haven't seen WandaVision, you missed out on a lot of development.
Yeah, she's going to be totally badass too, man. Because Wanda, she's evolved. Well, I got a question to ask y'all while it's on my mind right now. So, with the serum, right? Do you think they took an easy way out, or is this part of the comic lore where? Because remember, when they gave Steve Rogers the serum, he was small, but then he got big. And remember, the doctor was saying, like, with this new serum, you don't, there's no big muscles, there's no clunky machines to help you grow. You just take the serum. So I could take right now as a fat guy and still be, and like pick up houses and shit. It doesn't affect your size. Because I'm like, okay, how do these people take this serum and they're all just built like regular people? Like Steve Rogers was
you did see Isaiah, and for an old dude, Isaiah looked buff as hell. Like, I mean, obviously, I think they embellished his age a little bit because those eyebrows looked whack as hell. Not to be rude to the makeup department or nothing like that. And watch they be his real eyebrows too, and I'm just an asshole. Isaiah looked ripped, man.
He did look in shape. I like that actor, and he looks. Those aren't his real eyebrows. They definitely aged. I mean, unless he's changed a little bit. I saw him initially, that actor, on Supergirl. He was like, have you seen Supergirl?
Yeah, who's he on Supergirl? I haven't seen the latest season because I kind of dropped off with the show. But
yeah, if you've seen the earlier part, he's Martian Manhunter's father. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh shit! Yeah. Dude, Martian
looked very different.
Now I'm thinking of it. Yeah, Martian Manhunter's father looked small in that show too.
He was like a pretty small guy.
Yeah.
He didn't have like the grayed out hair and stuff. So I think he's a really good actor. And I think he brought a lot to the role with this one. And let's go ahead and jump straight into the next episode. Episode picks up right out of the gate with Carly Morgenthau and the Flag Smashers trying to execute their plan of getting the various senators that they need for their plan. They're going in gun ho. They don't care if they die. They don't care if they live. Some of the other flag smashers look a little bit like, I don't know. Carly is just headstrong. She's going for what she wants. They're working with Barkov or whatever his name is, the guy who plays what's his name? The guy who plays George St. Pierre, GSP. Yeah. My dad messaged me right after I did my review for the first episode that had George St. Pierre, and I said his name. My dad's like, you could probably just say GSP, because my dad's really big into UFC, and he's like, people will know that. I'm like, I don't think a lot of people would know that.
I wouldn't.
If you don't know about GSP is probably the greatest welterweight UFC fighter ever. Like he's the GOAT.
That's what my dad was telling me.
Yeah, you YouTube and look him up. GSP was no joke. That guy will fuck you up.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see it. He looks like that kind of guy for sure. But yeah, it was cool to see him in the show come back again. He had that short, really brief cameo at the beginning. Of Winter Soldier. But episode starts off. We see him involved with Carly and everything that's going on, and right out of the gate, we see Falcon fly in the new Captain America suit. He is now officially Captain America, and it was just beautifully comic book accurate. There's little details and things that are different, but for the most part, it's like ripped right off the pages. I watched the episode. Most of the episodes I always watch these with my fiance at 3 a.m. But sometimes she won't want to wake up, and I'll have to rewatch it. So this was one of those that I had to rewatch with her, and I just loved it both times. Just completely made me feel so happy. I felt like a kid again. Sometimes there are specific things in these comic book movies that I see in these comic book shows, and I just like the stuff that I've been dying to see on the big screen, stuff I never thought I would see on the big screen. And seeing him in that suit was one of them. And so all of his action, just him flying around, throwing the shield, and the way that they kind of made that all look, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I found it to be a really solid and fun episode. With, again, a lot of great action. Everybody kind of had their moment to shine. Again, they really do a good job of leaning into the story of Carly Morgenthau and the Flag Smashers and their purpose, their viewpoint on things, without kind of viewing them as terrorists, which leads into the great speech once they do save the senators later on in the episode, where Sam pretty much tells the senators, like, look at this girl, because Carly does end up getting killed. Both Carly and GSP's character end up getting killed by Sharon Carter, who we learn later in the episode, or during that whole little altercation, is indeed the power broker. She ends up killing the two of them. And Sam pretty much tells them, like, look, this girl died trying to stop you. You know what I mean? Like, some of the people all over the world teamed up and for her cause to kind of stop the biggest governments in the world. And why do you think that is? You guys have to do better, and this and that. It's all being televised, and as Isaiah Bradley and so many others are seeing this scene, and it was a great moment. I love seeing sometimes there's just something super strong about just a moment of facial acting, being able to see Isaiah Bradley just so kind of like proud and kind of taken back, you know what I mean? Recognizing that the words that he's now realizing, like, damn, this man is making me proud to be a black man, watching another black man be captain.
Yeah, it definitely showed the scope of how big that speech was. It wasn't just the people who were chilling there. And it took place in Times Square, right? The finale, or somewhere in New York, City, I think, right?
I don't know where that took place. It could have been. I don't know if it was New York or just another big city.
I think it was New York, because remember at the end of episode 5, Carly and them are in New York, and that's where they wanted to launch their plan.
You're right.
I don't know if it was Times Square, but
Times Square is the perfect place to have a comic book fight. I mean, Superman 2, come on.
Yeah,
Times Square like that. That's the place to go.
That was a great.
The scope of that was like huge. You got to see everyone watching on TV, like how it affected everyone. But go on, my fault.
No, you're good. Please, that's the thing about these live streams. Sometimes it's like you want to speak, and then there's like the delay or talking over each other. But yeah, overall, I really personally thoroughly loved this episode. I think it was my favorite. I think for me, it just did a good job of rounding out the stories. Now, there's one thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, which was one of the things that pulled me into the show the most, and I was kind of the most disappointed with this final episode. We'll get into that in just one second. But as far as Sam's transition to Captain America, him in the suit, his first Captain America speech, the weight of it all, I thought it was handled really, really well. I think the weakest part of this whole show, looking back on it, just kind of something they threw in there that I just don't really feel was developed all that well, was Sharon Carter and her whole thing with the power broker. It was fine. You know, she finally ends up getting her pardon. You can understand how her character kind of felt betrayed and was upset because she was essentially the one person involved with everything that happened in Civil War with the Avengers that was kind of left alone to kind of fend for herself. She didn't get a pardon. She wasn't one of the Avengers that was like kind of viewed as like a, ooh, great, like, you know, Sharon Carter, like she's here to save the world. Like she was kind of just left in the underworld essentially. So she's kind of created this name for herself as the power broker. We do get that post-credit scene at the end where we see that she has been offered back her job. She ends up getting her pardon, and then we see her get on the phone, pretty much showing us that she has some nefarious plans set in motion. But yeah, big highlight moments were all the action, everything with him in the Captain America suit. And then I really loved that speech. But I think the part that blew my tear ducts to just, I was just exploding with just emotion. And when I rewatched it, my girlfriend was crying as soon as it happened. Was the epic scene of Sam taking Isaiah Bradley to the museum where he now has the statue there, and he tells them they'll never forget what you did for this country, never. And he gives them that hug, and there's just so much emotion. I think that it tackled that all so well. And Rashad, let's start with you. What did you think of this final episode?
Yeah, bro, I got chills even just thinking about that scene, man. That scene was like very powerful. I'm a big water bag myself, man, and I hate, so I be trying to fight back the tears, like, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it. Nope. I got something in my eye. This whole episode really, it felt like the third act, the final act of a movie. Like this whole thing was like this one long movie, you know what I mean? Like Zack Snyder cut, Justice League, you know what I'm saying? So it felt like a third act of a movie, and from beginning to end, man, just action packed. Falcon and the Captain America get up. I was like, okay, cool. Just don't open your mouth. Just don't say anything. Just do action things. And he still can't help but get his ass whooped.
He starts doing sign language and shit like that.
GSP handed his ass to him, and he had to escape out of there, or else he would have got his ass kicked even more. The speech. Okay, let me say this about the speech. The speech, what he was saying was on some real shit. Don't get me wrong. It was on some real shit. It just felt unrealistic to me. I just had this big ass fight. I saved the day. Then I come down. Yes, and when the government has failed us, and you did this wrong, and you did that wrong, and we must fix this and fix that. I am Captain America. Woo! All right. Hey, there you go, Black Falcon. Nah, that's not Black Falcon. That's Captain America. Yeah.
It felt like a little forced to you or something.
It felt a little forced. Like I didn't believe it, but like I said, he was saying some real shit. It didn't feel real. It just didn't feel authentic to me. I guess that's what I'm looking for. It just didn't feel authentic. So the speech was, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, okay, can we go on to the next scene? Because when Sam opens, his line delivery is just terrible. Like even when he was chasing the helicopter, oh, you've earned this ass whooping. Your line delivery sucks. But yeah,
if it means anything, Rashad might be right, because I don't even remember that he said that.
He said you earned this ass kicking and all this and that, and I like the part too where the truck was falling, and John Walker has that moment of he's finally a hero now. Like he grabs the truck and that music kicks in. If you remember that music cue, that was from Civil War when Cap and Iron Man were fighting. So I'm like, oh shit, like I'm getting Civil War vibes here.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see John Walker's turn around and become a hero finally with that shitty ass shield. He needs to come up with another one that shield was for shit. Okay,
yeah.
Something that
looked like it was made out of like a Dish Network satellite or something.
Yeah. Well, I guess as you would say, a great value Captain America shield, right?
Yeah.
The show ended on a good note. The whole thing with the power broker, the big reveal. I was like, wow, okay, was it Scooby Doo Mysteries? I would have got away for you damn kids, But yeah, wrapping up. Yeah, overall, man, I give this whole series an A. Solid A. Some things I ain't like about it, but overall, man, I liked it better than WandaVision. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want to see more of it.
Yeah, I would say I think I liked WandaVision more overall, but this is right there for me, man. This Disney Plus and these Marvel shows has been top notch. Star Wars, the visual effects, the performances, the stories have just been super exciting to watch overall. And with Loki coming out soon, and the millions of what feels like the millions of Star Wars and Marvel shows coming out, I feel like we are in for a lot of great things to talk about and watch. I will make one reference though. I said it in my review for this episode, but I found it a little bit cheesy, but I don't know why. I also just found it kind of funny, but I also really enjoyed it when he's pulling up when he's taking up the truck, near the end, where it's like John Walker's already fallen at this point, and he's using like the two like jets that he pulls out and gets on the trucks and flies up and saves the day. There's that black gentleman that's like, hell yeah, that's Black Falcon. And you were just talking about it.
Yeah,
and then the other guy said, I love that. Like the way that guy acted that line, I laughed so much. Like it just felt so real.
It did seem like over the top, but I was just like, you know what? Like it fits. Like I'm gonna give him that.
But then the other guy saying, nah, that's Captain America. It was cheesy. I liked it, but I can agree with it kind of just felt like a little out of place, a little out of tone.
Yeah, like it almost put me in the mind of Batman. Batman Forever. Jesus Christ.
Well, what did you think about this last episode, Justin?
So, like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, even though, like, I obviously watched the last episode before, like, when the first episode started off, I was just like, "Oh shoot, we're already in the shit already." Like, so they fast forwarded a little bit. It took me off guard, but so, like, right away, like you were saying, Anthony, like Captain America, Falcon, before we knew he was going to bust through the window, just busts in right away. Like, he's in the suit and everything. So it kind of got like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Doctor Who at all.
Yeah.
But like all the other past generations, it's like very slow and epic. But when Peter Capaldi came in, it was just like, instant. I was like, oh shit. Like, that's how I felt. Like, oh shoot. Like, it took me off guard. I was like, all right, but that looks dope. That's what's up. And then when I think my favorite moment was like seeing John Walker come back. I was like, all right, like he's got some ghetto equipment, but I feel like he's gonna kick some ass. And I really wish what they would have done is like, you know how like Carly just does some like pole vault kick or something off one of those like scaffolding pipes and just like knocks him out.
Yeah.
Right. I wish there was a moment where like John Walker is fighting her and he's winning and he knocks her on the ground. And he's about to like end her, but then he has the choice whether to either like end her or save the kids, and then it goes between that. Like I just wish like we could have seen as an audience that he had the chance to beat her, like he had the chance to like get his revenge, and he took a different approach because he did the good thing at the end of the day. And then Falcon, I don't know how, maybe you guys could explain this to me. Falcon somehow like caught the entire bus, because I know he's like being propelled by rockets, but at the same time he's just a normal dude sandwiched in between those rockets and a big ass truck.
Yeah.
So I was just like maybe the suit's made out of something durable or something like that, protecting him. But I was like, I feel like he would have been smushed or something like that.
Yeah, I have to imagine, because he was in the air, like, so it wasn't like he was sandwiched on the ground yet. Like, it's just a matter of like, how is he holding it up? I just said
I'm thinking too far into it too, probably.
Well,
but
but I think it's a valid point.
Yeah,
I think it's a valid point. I think it was more just the jets, and he pulls out those extra jets that fly off of him and like attach to it.
Yeah, because for the first few seconds though, it was just him though, like with the jetpack pushing up against the van. But then like to what you were saying, the other jets come in and help him. So it could have been that. But no. At the end of the episode, I like the setup they had with U.S. Agent. I like that the suit was literally just the same suit but black.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see if Julie Louis-Dreyfus does appear in Captain America 4 or Captain America and Winter Soldier. Or did you guys also catch that the one reporter called him Captain Falcon too?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, Nintendo fans, where you at?
That's definitely going to be a thing I think for a while. I think a lot of people are going to call him Captain Falcon. You know what I mean? Or at least it'll probably be a joke within it. But yeah, you mentioned the whole thing with the U.S. agent at the end. We finally see him take on the title of U.S. agent in the black suit. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of toe that line moving forward. If he's going to kind of be viewed as this hero, even though he's kind of been a bit of an anti-hero villain in this last season. But yeah, overall, man, I think we seems like we're all fans of the show. You know, Rashad hates Anthony Mackie for some reason. But
I mean, everyone hates their own actors. I have a thing against Jeremy Renner. I just don't like the dude. I think he's boring and his delivery sucks on everything. So like that could just be me. I liked him in that Tag movie. He was kind of fun in that. But like all the Avengers movies, like the what was it, Hansel and Gretel movie? Like I just think he's boring, man. Like, but it happens with everyone. Everyone has their person they don't like.
For sure.
Yeah,
any final thoughts on this?
Like, ugh.
Like,
now, say especially if you see the movie Pain and Gain, where it's Mark Wahlberg, The Rock, and Anthony Mackie.
Yeah,
you forget Anthony Mackie's even in the movie, but he's billed third.
I forgot that he's in that movie. Yeah,
what's that?
I forgot he's in that movie.
Exactly. For a while, Anthony Mackie was just always that guy you've seen in the movies. You're like, okay, I've seen this guy in a lot of movies, but I never know what his name is. So I didn't know who he was until he started doing MCU. I just knew him as Clarence from 8 Mile.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I think I did like it better than WandaVision because I think WandaVision it's hard because WandaVision's finale I know was affected by COVID. And I think they had to like wrap it up quick or something because I know they had other plot lines they had written out. So I think the Falcon and Winter Soldier's finale hit me better than WandaVision's did. So I'd probably still give it like a 9 out of 10 because I did thoroughly enjoy it with a few like little minor gripes. But I mean, we're people, like I said, who hold these things to higher standards. So we're going to have gripes no matter what. We're going to find something or just like question something. Why did they do this? Why did they do that? But yeah. To what all you guys were saying, the scene with Isaiah was freaking great, and I believe that's in the MCU. Like the Smithsonian is real in the MCU, right? That's where he was put in.
Yeah,
like the statue. Yeah. That was great. That to me was like the saddest MCU moment I've seen, and like some other people would be like, "Dude, what about like Endgames?" I was like, I don't know, like because like they're going to be brought back in one way or the other, but this like finally someone getting like recognition who's been ignored for years and years and years. I was like, damn, but.
Yeah, and they handled it really well because he's not a character that has a lot of screen time, and a lot of the screen time he does have is just him in that house. You know what I mean? So,
you felt the dude's pain there because I think it was established like he was supposed to be like 90 or something like that.
Yeah,
like not like 90 physically. Like I think he aged a little bit slower. I think that was the thing.
Yeah, like he aged slower, and I think he was like in prison for 30 years or something like that. They talked about.
Yeah.
And so I think they handled that really, really well. And overall, just definitely a big fan of the show. So looking at the time, I appreciate you guys being a part of this, and definitely want to give you guys a chance to give me any final thoughts you have. But overall, I found the show to be a really good time for anybody watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the show too. If you didn't, definitely leave some comments. If you did,
screw you all.
Maybe don't do that. But Justin, we'll start with you. Any final thoughts? Any overall thoughts on the series?
I mean, like, so who Sharon was talking to on the phone at the end? Do you think it was Val, Zemo, like?
I don't know. I think that's still. I think that's going to be still a mystery.
Because Zemo's on. Like, I forgot the raft was even a thing. Honestly, someone was trying to tell me that that what's his name, Blonsky or whatever from Incredible Hulk is supposed to be on there. But I tried looking it up. I couldn't find any truth to that at all. So
it's possible because they are bringing back Tim Roth's character, Abomination, for She-Hulk. They announced he will be in the She-Hulk show, which will also have Mark Ruffalo. So I like that they're finally going to start pulling from Incredible Hulk a little bit more. We got Thunderbolt Ross in Civil War and in Infinity War briefly. But it's nice to know that they're going to start dipping their toes back into the events of that movie. It makes me wonder if we'll ever see Liv Tyler come back as Betty one day. So we'll definitely see. But I forgot to mention the whole thing that we do see Zemo end up actually having the last laugh with the remaining Flag Smashers being killed.
Yeah.
While he's on the raft, which is the at-sea prison or the middle of the ocean prison that we see in Civil War.
Azkaban prison, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. So, any more final thoughts, Justin, before we hear Rashad's?
No, that's it. Like I said, I'm just curious who the hell they were talking to on the phone. So.
Yeah, for sure. What you think, Rashad? Any final thoughts?
Well, yeah, this show really renewed my faith in the MCU again. I mean, like WandaVision was cool, but WandaVision didn't really have me excited about where the MCU was going, because what they did was so epic, and I'm like, I don't think they're ever gonna match the epicness that was the Thanos, Infinity Saga. You know what I mean? Like WandaVision was cute, but nothing's gonna top the epic scale that was, the Infinity Saga. So this here really renewed my faith in saying, okay, I think I like where Marvel's gonna go with this, and I'm
Back
excited.
To the smaller stories again.
Yeah. And I can't wait to see who the next big bad guy is going to be. My money's on either Doctor Doom or Galactus, maybe. Yeah. Maybe most likely Doom, because they're going to bring in the Fantastic Four, so most likely it's got to be Doom.
Yeah. They got a lot of big ones they could play with, even if they were decided to like make it Magneto or something. Like there's just so many big characters that are just really powerful in the comic books that maybe the movie versions haven't really shown that. Magneto, we've seen him powerful in the movies, but only not nearly as powerful as we've seen him in like various animated shows or comic books.
Yeah, I guess so. Who's going to top someone who is like king, like when he had the Infinity Gauntlet, like king of reality, basically. Like,
yeah. I mean, Doctor Doom.
I just read the Secret Wars from I think 2015, and Doctor Doom was a god. Like they call him God Doom, where he created his own reality.
Yeah, he gets really powerful in the comics, and they have never in any way even scraped the surface of how his character is in the comics in any of the on-screen iterations of his character.
Right. And I don't know if you read it, but what blew me away about that graphic novel was because Thanos stepped to him, and Thanos was talking shit, and Doom literally ripped his spine and everything out of his body. Effortlessly.
That's
so
crazy.
My money most likely is on Doom being like the next big bad guy.
I hope so. To be completely honest, man. But
real quick, not to keep dragging this on. Do you know when What If comes out? Did they say when that's supposed to come out?
I think they have. Off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure, but I am very excited for What If for sure.
Okay, I didn't know if that came before or after Loki.
I think it's Loki starts in June. So we're almost in June. So we'll be getting Loki very soon. Just I think we have like all of May without any MCU stuff, and then we get June with Loki, and then July we get Black Widow. Finally dropping. So again, a big thanks to everybody who watched, whether you watched it live or after the fact. The links to both Justin and Rashad's channels are down below in the description box. Go subscribe. They got tons of great content over there, whether it's movie related stuff, TV related stuff, real life related stuff. There's tons of great stuff over there. So please go give them some love. Let them know I sent you. But yeah, just real quick before we wrap it up, Justin, is there anything that you got coming out that people can look forward to on your channel?
So I'm actually, like I said, I have a buddy who's visiting for the past 2 weeks. So I'm trying to get my time onto my channel, but I've been working on a Smallville season 7 review, and Smallville is like the biggest thing on my channel. I have a lot of fans surprisingly come for a show that's basically 20 years old now. Yeah. I'm definitely going to be doing some live streams. I got my Elgato capture card, so I'm trying to figure out how to do that up with like Nintendo games and other games that I can't just easily stream with, Yeah. So that's what I've been working on. Just some backlog stuff, honestly. A few more entertainment road trips, but that's about it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely, guys. Link is down below in the description box. And Rashad, what do you got coming out, man, that people can look out for?
Well, today I just dropped a review for season 2, episode 2 of Godfather of Harlem, which I think is a very underrated show. So please check that show out if you haven't watched it already. So I dropped a review for that, and I got a couple of collab videos coming up. One with you, Perez, Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, which I just saw you part of it, and you was a fan, so I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And then with the Z review, we just wrapped up our Rocky series. But we're going to cap it off with the Rocky best and worst of. So best Rocky movie, best Rocky fight, worst Rocky fight, So that's going to be a fun video to do. So I should be coming out with that in a few days also. And
Yeah,
So
Rashad,
far,
I
that's
still
about
have to
it.
finish it up. I'm like halfway through your Stone Cold documentary review.
That, my favorite wrestler.
Oh,
Yeah,
hell
the
yeah, dude.
reason why I went bald. That was by choice.
Nice. I wish mine was by choice.
Well, if it makes you
Well,
feel
to be
any
honest, with
better,
you,
I
my
got a
hairline is
full.
kind of going back, So
Yeah, if it makes y'all feel any better, I got a full head of hair, but I can't grow a beard for shit. So.
Hey man, I would rather have a full head of hair and no beard at all. But I guess.
Blasphemy! Don't say that. Be happy for your beard, man. I can't get my beard like yours. It just won't grow. Like it's stuck like this. But man, I would kill to have a beard like that. That's that Rick Ross shit.
That
Man. Be proud of
Kratos
your
beard, yeah.
Yeah, I do love the beard. I won't lie. But I do appreciate you guys for being on here. Anything that you guys can look for here on my channel. Tons of stuff coming out very soon. Like Rashad said, I'll be over on his channel very soon for the movie Life, starring Eddie Murphy. I'm really excited to get that video for him to get that video up. Definitely a cool movie to be able to be introduced to for the very first time. Later this week. Maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime later this week, I'll have a review up for School of Rock, starring Jack Black with Trav
nice.
Tries,
Nice.
Death Note 2, The Last Name with Blacktastic. And honestly, I have so many other reviews in the work right now. I can't even remember what I gave you next, Rashad, at this point. Oh, Rashad and I will be talking about Overlord. Yeah, I've got Overlord coming out.
The horror
yeah.
movie or the anime?
Yeah. We got the horror movie.
Okay.
Yeah, then we got the Lego movie is the next one I'm doing with Rashad on my channel. Got next
that movie. I just watched that recently, bro. That movie had me laughing hysterically. Me and my daughter.
So funny.
How are the kids' movies making me laugh that much, man? I was laughing my ass off watching that.
But my favorite scene, bro, and it's probably not gonna it's not gonna be that funny right here unless you've seen. Have you seen the Lego movie, Justin?
Oh yeah, I love that.
My
movie.
favorite scene for some reason, like one of my favorite moments. There's tons of great funny moments, but one of my favorite moments is when he's arrested near the beginning of the film, and like you got Liam Neeson's, good cop, bad cop, kind of interrogating him, and he's like,
Hi,
no,
buddy.
like I was just gonna go hang out with all my friends, like I'm just like this and that, and he's like, you mean these friends? And he shows him like the video of everybody, like nobody really cares about him or knows about him, and then there's that one Lego who's like. He's like, when you tell me about Bill, I think, ha, 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 ha. When you tell me that other guy, I go, and then like the animation of like the Lego, like the blandness of Lego, it's so funny. But yeah, there's so much great stuff coming out. So again, a big thanks to everybody who watched, and I had a lot of fun doing this. Thank you to Justin. Thank you to Rashad. Their channels are down below. Any final words, guys?
What's that?
No, I got everything out I wanted to say. I'm just grateful to be on your
good.
channel again, man.
Yes,
absolutely,
sir.
man. You're absolutely always welcome. Rashad, any final words?
I'm good, bro. That's it, and that's all.
All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.